let's get ready. It's about to start recording. All right, guys. I apologize if there's a cut in audio. It literally just ended the recording. I have no idea why. It's really weird. So if you hear a cut in audio between, anything, I just apologize. We're just going to keep on going to where we left off. So anyway, we got the Houston Texans and the New York Giants. The Texans are 1-6-1, and the Giants are 6-2. So unfortunately, Giants star young safety Xavier McKinney is out for an undisclosed amount of time with a broken hand suffered during the bye week. Huge loss to the Giants defense, and we don't know how long he'll be out for, like I said, but it is a huge loss. Saquon Barkley is like a Derrick Henry for the Giants. He has bounced back excellently after 2 down years. He is the offense, like I said, he's like Derrick Henry, Although the Texans have been terrible this year, they do have rookie running back Dameon Pierce, who looks like he has a bright future for the Houston Texans. Davis Mills I'm also saying with the Texans, Davis Mills needs to play a lot better in the second half of this season if he wants to be the Texans quarterback of the future, which I don't think he will be, but in case he wants to be, he's playing for his job, And my question for you, Shane, on this game is, did the Giants make a mistake not trading for a receiver at the trade deadline?
I think you guys did, but I also don't, like you said, a lot of your offense kind of revolves around Saquon Barkley. It wouldn't be bad for you guys to try to get at least an average type of wide receiver. But I don't think it was a big mistake. You know what I mean? I think you guys are winning with your defense, winning with Saquon Barkley, and you know what? When playoffs come around, that's all you really like. Obviously, you need offense, but you need a great defense. The Buccaneers showed that in 2020. So I think you guys will be fine.
Right. Who do you think's going to win this game, Shane, between the Texans and the Giants?
I think the Giants are going to win. I think they'll win 21-10. Not so much of a low-scoring game, but I think Saquon Barkley will have a great game. As far as for the Texans, I know we didn't really discuss on them a lot. You're right. Mills has to start playing better, and they have a bright future at running back. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the Texans play for the next half of the year, and then on to next year as well. See what they do at the quarterback position. Maybe they'll draft the quarterback. Excuse me.
I also think the Giants are going to win. I don't mean to be biased, but the Giants just have a great run game. Daniel Jones, having a great year, a good bounce back year. Having a career year, realistically, and it's good to see him finally flourishing. And it'll see where the Giants go in the future. If they make the playoffs this year, if they don't, maybe they should sign OBJ. Hopefully, not having a receiver does not hurt the Giants too much, but only time will tell. I think the Giants win this game, Shane, somewhat comfortably, 27-17.
No, I'd like to see OBJ go back. I want OBJ to go back to New York, sign like a 3-year deal, and end his career with the Giants. I think he should do that. Not even for him, just he loves New York, and I think New York deserves it because New York really kind of made him in a way. You know what I mean, with the catch and how his style is. So, yeah, it'd be great to see him back in New York Giants uniform. On to our next game. We have the Browns who are 3-5 versus the Dolphins who are 6-3. As we predicted, the Dolphins are having a pretty good year. They had a little rough bump in the middle of their season so far with the Tua injury, but they're playing great. The Browns returned from their bye week, which followed a all around good performance against Cincinnati. I think they won like 31-16 or something like that. Jacoby Brissett had a career high 133.7 passing rating. Completing 17 of 22 for 278 yards and a passing touchdown against the Bengals. For the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill is a gem. Like, everybody knows that Tyreek Hill is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. He's leading the NFL in yards by, I think it's 400 yards, which is crazy. So my question here for you, Will, is it's kind of like two questions into one. Is Tyreek Hill the X factor when playoffs come around? Because obviously the Dolphins will more likely make the playoffs. And are they only a one-dimensional team when it comes to offensive schemes? Meaning, are they too reliant on the passing attack with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle with Tua, or do you think they can run the ball just as good as they can pass the ball?
Now the run game of the Dolphins needs to be seen because they did trade for Jeff Wilson Jr. for the 49ers. So I mean, that if they'd established that, this Dolphins team is very scary. But like most teams, in a similar style as the Dolphins, their run game is their weakness, and we'll have to see where that how that affects them without having a solid run game. But that could change. Like I said, they got Jeff Wilson Jr. So Tyreek Hill is a gem. I think he is one of the best receivers in football. He's having a historic game pace, and I think that is the reason why the Dolphins are so good. Is not also the new coaching too, obviously, and Tua breaking out and Jalen Waddle. But you can't deny that Tyreek Hill has been, in my opinion, the best acquisition for any team, this season. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. Everything that they did to get Hill, I think, was worth it. Because the Dolphins sit 6-3, and they're not. And remember, they have that win over the Bills. So if the Bills start to lose a game and the Dolphins keep winning, you can see the Dolphins win this division. I think it's very likely the Dolphins can win this division.
Right. That is definitely not out of the picture. That would definitely be a big upset, but it is not out of the picture because, like you said, considering that
they also play each other at the end of the year, I believe. So
right.
when the division gets real tight at the end of the year, that's gonna be one of the best games this year. I can tell you that right now.
Right. And who do you think's gonna win this game?
I have the Dolphins. The Browns' rushing attack is really good, but with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, like obviously he's coming off a great game, but I still don't think the Browns can reach full potential until they get Watson. I think he returns in 2 weeks. Don't quote me. I think it's 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. I think he has to do a week of like evaluation or something like that, and then a week of practice, and then he can be game time ready. So Jacoby's only got to get him through these next couple of weeks. And, Nick Chubb, like we said, he's probably the best running back in football right now. He's an absolute dog, literally Georgia Bulldog. He's a dog. I love him. But I don't think it's enough to beat this Dolphins team. They're too explosive, too high energy on offense. I have the Dolphins winning this game 31-27 over the Browns. How about you, Will?
I think the Dolphins win this game 30-20. I think, the Dolphins passing game is way too much for the Browns run game to keep up with. It's going to be hard for them to keep up with Tyreek. Not to mention the Browns secondary is not the best. So Tua has definitely a potential to have he's having a great year, but to continue having a great year. How many more games you got left, Shane?
I have 2 more games.
Okay, word. I got 3. So I'm going to do this one, then I got the 2 primetime games. So we'll do mine, and then we'll do your next 2. So let's go into my next one. We got the New Orleans Saints, who are 3-6, versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 2-6. So good news for the Steelers is T.J. Watt should return this week after having a partial tricep tear. And this is huge for the Steelers. Obviously, he's one of the best defensive players in football. Do you think the T.J. Watt's return can spearhead a turnaround for the Steelers, yes or no?
I think it does. I mean, their defense was still good regardless. I mean, they beat Tom Brady. Like, obviously, Tom Brady's not being that great this year, theoretically. But, this defense is still good with or without T.J. Watt, and adding him only makes this team overall better.
Right. I agree. T.J. Watt, obviously, like I said, been one of the best defenders in football, and their defense has not been the worst. I know against the Bills that got destroyed, but their defense has not been as bad as you would think without one of their best players. The Saints, on the other hand, have been one of the most inconsistent teams this season. On paper, they look super solid, but they have not lived up to the hype. Some people like me, I thought the Saints would be a playoff team, but that's not really looking out to be the case. They've had a very disappointing year, and it's really the fact of Jameis Winston. And speaking of Jameis Winston, do you think Jameis Winston should be the starter for the Saints again, or do you think they should keep on playing Andy Dalton? Because Andy Dalton's looked hit or miss. Or do you think that he's a better option than Jameis Winston? Or
See, here's the thing. I think the offense for the Saints have more access with Jameis at quarterback. There's more plays they can run up. They can do trick plays with Jameis. Like Jameis, he's kind of a dual threat in a way. If he has to run, he's very dangerous while running. You saw that in college. You saw that when he was with the Buccaneers. Um, so I think if they want this offense to put up more points, I think Jameis is the way to go. But it's kind of like you're taking the goods and the bads. Like okay, you can open up the offense, but there's higher chance of more turnovers. You know what I mean? And turnovers is the
Right.
name of the game. And Dalton's his experience, so like he won't turn the ball over, but he's older and he can't really move around a lot. So it's what the coach wants, honestly, at that point. So I can't really say. If I was the coach, I think I'd want Winston at quarterback. Not only because he's younger, but like I said, he opens the offense more. But that's really like a big time coach decision. I think Winston would probably be the better option, but we'll see what happens.
I agree, but they keep on playing Andy Dalton for a reason, so they must think that Andy Dalton is the better option. I personally disagree, but that's what the Saints are seeing. Do you think that Kenny Pickett not looking the best is a cause of concern, or do you think I'll answer this one, or do I think he'll turn it around? Like, he's not looked the best. Is that a cause of concern for the future of the Steelers? I don't think so. Not every rookie quarterback plays very well, and it's people need to understand that not every rookie quarterback will play like Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. It's a growing pain being an NFL quarterback. So I think he will slowly get better. Do I think he'll be very good? Who knows? Only time will tell, but I think we can't write him off like after 1 year because he's a rookie on a very rebuilding team. Now,
No,
go ahead.
I agree with you, Will. And I'm gonna use this like comparison like really quick. You mentioned Tom Brady. Like we can mention like two rookies right now that are doing really good at the moment. We have Dak Prescott, who went off his rookie year with the Cowboys. I think they went 13-3. They made the playoffs, even though they lost to the Packers in the playoffs. They still had a really great year. And then we have in the past Mr. Geno Smith. Now we talked about Geno earlier. Geno was terrible as a rookie. He did not do very well. And it just goes to show you it's hit or miss at the quarterback with rookies. And like you said, it's a growing pain. So like people need to understand not every quarterback that is a rookie is going to come out and look like they're prime Brady out there their rookie year.
Right. And there's two good rookie receivers in this game, Chris Olave and George Pickens. The potential of these two are insane. I think they will both be star receivers in the NFL, and it's fun to see these. Like I said, Chris Olave's top 10 receiving yards, and you see George Pickens. It seems like he makes a circus catch every week, and it's just fun to watch them both. And my last question for you, Shane, is: do you think Najee Harris's poor season is like worrying, or do you think he will turn his season around in the second half of the year?
I think he'll be okay. I think by the end of this year he'll realize, because this is his sophomore season. A lot of running backs, they don't have a good second year. Why, I don't know. But I think he'll be okay. I think he's doing a lot better than like most running backs usually do in their sophomore season. So I think he'll be okay.
Who do you think is going to win this game between the Steelers and the Saints?
I'm going with not the Saints. I'm going with the Steelers. I'm going with the Steelers 24-23. I just don't think this Saints team is a good team overall, and I think the Steelers are better than the Saints, so I'm going to have to go with the Saints. Or, the Steelers. Saints, Steelers, they stay the same.
I agree. I'm gonna have to go with the Steelers too. I think this might be a little bit of a hot take. I know I'm not the biggest fan of the Steelers. I think T.J. Watt is the reason why I'm picking them. I'm not gonna lie. And how inconsistent the Saints are. So I got the Steelers winning 20-17.
All right, so I'm gonna do my two, and then you're gonna do your primetime games.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure. On to our next game, we have the Colts, who are 3-5-1 versus the Raiders, who are 2-6. The moves over the past couple of weeks have created rumors that the Colts are trying to tank for better draft picks. The Raiders and Colts, for that matter, have underperformed on a disappointing level this season. So my question for you here, Will, is who do you think is most likely to pick up the pace to continue the rest of the year? Do you think the Colts or the Raiders will start playing better? The Raiders are starting to look a little bit better than they did in the first couple weeks of the season, but the Colts just look like they're just continuing to struggle more and more every week.
I really think that this is kind of an easy question. I think it's the Raiders because I really don't like the Colts and them starting Sam Ellinger and just looking really inconsistent. That's just my opinion. Jonathan Taylor, too. He's been very disappointing this year as well. And the Colts are just in a funk. They got Jeff Saturday, who's never even coached in college, who's now their head coach. So there's a lot of questions to ask you. So I really feel like it's the Raiders. The Raiders, Josh McDaniels is a terrible coach, don't get me wrong, but, at least he has experience. And another factor is that the weapons, Devontae Adams, Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, So I think the Raiders are, in my opinion, more likely to have a better second half than the Colts.
Do you think the Colts are trying to tank without really, putting it out there with the question, like you said, the questionable moves they've made over the last couple of weeks?
I think they are, honestly, but you can't say for sure because the GM is always going to deny that, But I think the Colts are definitely trying to tank 100%. You're starting. I think it started when Sam Ellinger started over Matt Ryan because I know Matt Ryan took a year back, or he was having a down year, but still, I think he's better than Sam Ellinger. I think most people would agree with that, 100%.
Who do you think is going to win this game?
I think the Raiders are going to win this game. I'll say 27-13, a little bit of a blowout. But again, I don't really like the Colts, and I really feel like this is the Raiders' game that they need to win this game. But who do you think is going to win?
No, I agree. I definitely think the Raiders need to win this game, and I think they are. I think they're going to win 24-14. And I think Devontae Adams will really start to pick up the pace and contribute more to this offense. Because he's I'm not saying he's had a disappointing year, but he's not playing as expected.
Right.
But moving on to the next game, it will be the Cardinals, who are 3-6 versus the Rams, who are 3-5. The Rams have really struggled ever since winning the Super Bowl last year. They will try to, after a comeback loss, the Buccaneers did a comeback victory against the Rams last week. Tough loss for the Rams. They continue to struggle protecting Matthew Stafford, and it's really costing them a lot of games, and just offense isn't playing great at all. And Stafford is suffering from it. He's not performing as well as he did last year. And for the Cardinals, their scoring offense is just horrendous. They're 31st in the league. My question for you here, Will, is how can the Cardinals fix their offense to try to get back into this race with the rest of the teams in the division? And what is the solution for the Rams to get going as well?
Yeah, honestly, I think the Rams are in a bit of what's the word I'm looking for? They might be in trouble. And, defending Super Bowl champions, a lot of hype. But the biggest thing for the Rams is their offensive line is really bad. Andrew Whitworth, left tackle, he retired. And they lost, I believe, 2. Don't quote me on that. I know for a fact at least 1 guard, but I think 2. They're 2 starting guards. So they lost 3 offensive linemen in the offseason. That's tough, So
especially when there are key factors in your Super Bowl run. That puts a dent, and we've mentioned it multiple times with the Rams. You've mentioned Andrew retiring. You need to have chemistry on the offensive line. You need to.
Right.
You need to.
Especially with the Rams, how they play.
Not even that. You need to have chemistry. The quarterback needs to have chemistry with them. So if the O-line doesn't have chemistry with each other, they're not going to have chemistry with the quarterback, and then that just makes it look like just terrible.
Yeah, and also, how the Rams are, they like to take deep shots with Cooper Kupp, and, also with Allen Robinson, too. You figured he's another vertical guy. But you can't really draw up a deep post play or a deep crossing route or a deep fly route if your line can't block, You can't really take your deep shots. You need that. Yeah, you need time for the play to develop, and that can't happen with a bad offensive line. So, but with the Cardinals, I think their offense will be really a lot better too when Hollywood Brown comes back, because him and DeAndre Hopkins, we haven't even seen them both on the field at the same time. But dude, that receiving duo is very underrated. Hollywood Brown, who's a speedster, and DeAndre Hopkins, a Hall of Famer. Like, dude, and it'll be fun to watch those two play. But Hollywood Brown's injured, so I feel like the Cardinals are going to really kick it into high gear as long as Kyler Murray rebounds and when Hollywood Brown comes back. Would you agree?
I mean, I agree. I think that was a big reason why they struggled so far in the beginning of the year is because of Hopkins not being there with his PED suspension.
And then Hopkins comes back, and then Brown's hurt.
Yeah, so they're just being hit with some unfortunate events. So I think eventually this team will start to pick it up. And honestly, this division, like we know about the Seahawks who are 6-3, but this division isn't the door isn't closed on this division quite yet. The 49ers are 4-4. Got these two teams facing off, so it's going to be interesting to see what it plays out. Who do you have winning this game, Will?
I got the Rams winning this game. Biggest thing here is coaching. Sean McVay, Super Bowl winning coach, Cliff Kingsbury on the hot seat. He's been on the hot seat for years. So I'm going to give it to the Rams. I'll say the score is 27-23. Who do you got?
See, I want to go with the Rams, but their offensive line just keeps disappointing me so far this year. So I'm gonna have to go with the Cardinals in a very low scoring game. I think it's gonna be 21-20. And I just think D Hop's gonna have one of them games where he's gonna become clutch. He clutches up and he does a couple big plays for this team to get past the Rams.
Excuse me. All right, so let's go into the two primetime games. The first one, Sunday night. This one is going to be a great game. I am very excited about this game. We got the LA Chargers. Excuse me, Jesus. I'm drinking a monster. That's why I keep on burping. We got the LA Chargers who are 5-3 versus the San Francisco 49ers who are 4-4. The 49ers, they look scary with Christian McCaffrey fully incorporated in their offense. They're kind of like the Broncos. The ball is in Jimmy G's court. The ball is in Russ's court. The ball is in his court. He's proven that he can take a team to the Super Bowl, but he really needs to make that step if they want to win it, like that leap. Jimmy G has been also on the topic of Jimmy G. He's been playing really well the last couple of games, and if he continues to play well, there's no reason why the Niners can't make the Super Bowl. Going to the Chargers, they have not lived up to their expectations. Some people anticipate them to be probably a one-loss team at this point, or maybe even undefeated. But the Chargers, they have been injured. Keenan Allen's injured. He's not playing. Mike Williams is injured. He's not playing. J.C. Jackson, he's out for the season. Rashawn Slater, left tackle, out for the season. Joey Bosa, also injured. So these injuries may come back and bite them in the ass if they want to make a deep playoff run. And that's the game of football, though. You have to deal with injuries, next man up type mentality, One good thing about the Chargers, though, is Austin Eckler, running back, has really stepped up with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams out. So that's a good thing to see because he's a pass-catching running back. So, it's good for them. So I got two questions. The first one is, Shane, has Justin Herbert been disappointing statistically wise for the Chargers? Some people thought he would throw for 5,000 yards again, but he's not really blowing the lights out. He's been very just like above average. He's not playing like the elite, like Josh Allen, Mahomes type. Or do you think he's having a disappointing year or no?
I mean, I know you've always been very high on Justin Herbert and his stats. So far this year, he's got 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, a little over 2,000 yards passing. That's kind of mediocre, especially for like someone who's Justin Herbert's talent. So I do think he's underperforming this year. I don't think it's disappointing. I just don't think he's not on that level quite yet, and I think he needs to step it up.
Right, and like I said, he's had a lot of injuries, but it's still, you got to step up to the plate as an NFL quarterback. You have to do. Brady's never had the best receiving room his whole career, and he's the greatest of all time. So you need to be able to work with what you got, And another question here is the Niners. Their quarterback controversy has been a talk ever since Trey Lance got drafted. What do they do next year? Are they going to start Jimmy G? Are they going to re-sign him, or is it Trey Lance's team? Because Trey Lance will be a year 3 quarterback with like 3 starts in his belt. Like, what do you think they're going to do next year with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo?
I think the team's better with Trey Lance. I think with who they now have Christian McCaffrey, they have Deebo Samuel, they have George Kittle, and if you put Trey Lance, who is a dual threat quarterback, you know the type of offense they can have. That's scary, and especially.
What if they win the Super Bowl though? What if Jimmy G wins in the Super Bowl?
I see at that point. I don't.
It's tough. It
is tough, but in all likelihood, I don't think they'll even make it to the Super Bowl. But in the occasion, if they do make the Super Bowl, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo really wants to be there anymore. Like, how can you blame him with how they've treated him ever since they lost the Super Bowl a couple years ago to the Chiefs?
The Chiefs. They gave up.
Yeah,
they gave up. They moved on.
They gave up, and for me, if a team gave up on me, I wouldn't want to be there, especially if I know my caliber is Super Bowl quarterback caliber type of play. So, I feel like if they win the Super Bowl, he's going to leave anyways, just because of how they treated him. Especially if that offseason they make questionable moves around him. But I think this is going to be Trey Lance's team one way or another.
Yeah, only time will tell. But it's funny because the front office and the coaching staff gave up on Jimmy G, but the players love Jimmy G. I think I said that before. They love him. They love the locker room. He's a great leader, and they like I said, they love him. But it's really the front office that gave up on him and the coaching staff. But I think the Niners are going to win this game, 27-20. Nick Bosa, R.I.P. Justin Herbert with your injured All-Pro left tackle. He's gone for the season, and Nick Bosa is going to feast. And this Niners offense is just going to click, click, click. Like I said, Niners 27-20. What about you, Shane? Who you got winning this game?
I have the Niners winning this game, a little bit closer game, 27-26. And like you said, basically, took the words out of my mouth. Bosa's going to eat, and it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Let's get to our last game of the week. NFC East Monday Night Football. The Washington Commanders 4-5 against the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles 8-0. Last time these two teams played in Washington, the Eagles won 24-8. Can the Commanders learn from their mistake and cover Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown? I'm going to just say a one-word answer, Shane. No. A.J. Brown's been killing it in his first season as the Eagle. Devontae Smith is the perfect number 2 wide receiver. Jalen Hurts is the dual-threat quarterback. They got Dallas Goedert. And the Commanders are just not a very good football team, I'll be honest. They're just not good. So, and I don't see how they're going to stop them. The Eagles are 8-0 for a reason. They blow people out. They don't even make a game. It's not even a game. Jalen Hurts has silenced the haters and is easily a top 3 MVP candidate for the season. It's really Jalen Hurts, Mahomes, and Josh Allen. Really, top 3. Any order you want. You could say he's an MVP front runner. It does. However you splice it, doesn't really matter. And I got a couple questions for you, Shane. The first one is the Commanders' quarterback controversy-ish situation. Quarterback situation. What quarterback gives the Commanders a better chance to win, Carson Wentz or Taylor Heineke?
I'm gonna say that popular answer. I'm gonna say Taylor Heineke. I think Taylor Heineke. I don't think Carson Wentz is good anymore. I think his prime. Some people's prime is really, really, really good, but it lasts a very short time, and I think that's what happened to Carson.
1 year wonder. That happened with the running back for the Browns, Peyton Hillis. He literally had one good season. He fell off the face of the earth.
Yep.
So it's not unheard of to have one good year and not be good again.
Yep. And you know what? It's unfortunate. But I think Taylor Heineke is more consistent. You saw how he performed in the playoffs against the Bucs the one game. And he gives his heart out, and I don't feel like Carson really, not that he cares, but I don't think he loves the game like he used to. Because
he only does it for the money, probably.
Yeah, because he got that big contract after the I think he got it before I'm not sure when he got it, but I know after his injuries is when I really started to notice he's not really the same quarterback that he once was. So I'm going to say Taylor Heineke.
And my next question is, this is just a simple like yes or no. Do you think the Eagles are going to finish 17-0?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and I know their schedule is easy, but 17-0 is a tough feat to accomplish.
I think they got to face the Cowboys one more time, and I think they got to face your Giants
the
once.
Giants twice. They have to play the Giants twice.
I think they're going to lose at least one of those 3 games. At least one of them.
Right.
If they could lose all, but I think they'll go like. I think they'll go 2-1 in those 3 games. I think they'll lose to one of your games against the Giants. I don't think the Cowboys will beat them. But
right. And lastly, this is about the Commanders. This is about their ownership because Dan Snyder, who is arguably the shittiest owner in sports, he's a real piece of shit. Everyone knows that. The Commanders are selling the team. No, he is. He's a piece of shit. Nobody likes him.
I agree. I agree.
So Dan Snyder is selling the Washington Commanders, and this is just just a little, I guess, a tidbit fun fact, I guess. And there's a couple people who are interested in buying it. The 3 most random people, Shane, right? It's not like, well, there is a big businessman, but we got Jeff Bezos, the former, or maybe he still owns Amazon, right? Jeff Bezos, the egghead, right? And then we got Jay-Z, like the rapper, right? So we got Jeff Bezos and Jay-Z. Okay, that's really, opposite ends of the spectrum. We got a businessman and we got a rapper, right? And fucking Matthew McConaughey, the actor. These are the 3 top bidders to buy the Washington Commanders. I'm like, what the hell is this? We got Jay-Z, Matthew McConaughey, and Jeff Bezos.
Listen, man, my money's on Jay-Z to buy this team. Jay-Z's going to turn this team around one way or another, whether you like it or not. Like this team, if Jay-Z buys this team, I tell you, give it 5 years before Washington's a dominant team. I'm telling you that right now.
Looks like they weren't in Paris; they were in Washington, right, Shane?
Yeah. I like that one. I like that one. That was a good one.
But I mean, I just think that's interesting that these 3 are bidding to buy the Commanders. I just thought that was interesting, so I just wanted to throw that out there. But who do you think's going to win this game between the Commanders and the Eagles?
I think the Eagles win this game 30-10.
I got a very similar score, actually.
Just because they can. Just because they can.
I got the Eagles winning 30-13. And the Eagles, since the Bills lost, are now, according to Vegas, the top Super Bowl favorite is the Philadelphia Eagles. So let's see if they live up to that hype and that fruition. So that's going to conclude this episode of the Gridiron Talk Podcast. Sorry that there was a little audio cut for the Giants and Texans game, but Skype literally just said, we're going to cut the audio. So I don't know what the hell happened.
We're cutting you guys short. You do this too much. We're cutting you short.
Pretty much, yeah. We do. We pretty much. Every Saturday. So thank you guys so much for listening. Again, sorry if it's choppy around that. I'm going to try my absolute best to merge the audio. Worst case scenario, I'll probably just do like part 1, part 2. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. But I will absolutely try my best to merge it the best I can. And if you guys, like, comment, subscribe. Shane, do you have anything else you want to add before we say our farewells?
No. I hope everybody watches some good football this week. I know once I get off of this, I'm eating my Chipotle and I'm watching some college football. So yeah, just stay safe. A lot of crazy stuff happens in this world. Stay safe and watch some good football.
Yeah, good football game today. I can't wait to see Texas and TCU. Let's see if Texas is officially back. And then we obviously got all the football games tomorrow and Monday. So it'll be fun to watch. Stay tuned next Saturday. Obviously, we'll be back. Again, like, comment, subscribe, share with all your friends and family. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next Saturday. You guys have a good weekend.